Okay, starting. Good night, I'm Claudia Silva, and I would like to welcome you all to the EuroSteamCon Live. We're now at the end of day 2 of EuroSteamCon Portugal. After several months on the road to EuroSteamCon and 2 steamy days of hard partying, we are closing our program on a particularly high note. We have with us today the fan favorite of role players everywhere, the author Ed Greenwood, who decided to take a break from Farron and the famous Forgotten Realms to take his pen of +5 writing to the steampunk genre with his book, The Iron Assassin. For the sake of our guests' well-being, we'll conduct this entire interview in English. Welcome, Ed, and thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. Let's start with the questions. You are a household name to many due to your Forgotten Realms series, and just recently published your first steampunk novel. What motivated your transition from fantasy to steampunk?
It was basically that it was a genre I'd wanted to explore, and David Hartwell, my editor at Tor, said, try 3 things, like a classic pulp science fiction adventure, a steampunk, and one other, and I'll pick the one I like the best. And this was the one he liked the best. So it was a great chance. I finally got to do a steampunk novel.
That's awesome. It's very different from fantasy. So what is it to you, the most appealing facet of steampunk?
I think for me, it's the chance to have fun with an alternate history we know didn't happen, but might have happened. It's not too far off. And then to add all the fun style of steampunk, the airships, and then work it out. Like the airships deliver the mail. They do the equivalent of a courier. And how does that affect society? So you work that in, and then you just tell a good old-fashioned, almost Sherlock Holmes type, because you're doing Gaslamp London, you know, but a different Gaslamp London, and you add supernatural elements, and then you just watch the fun. It's time for race and chase. It's time for goggles. It's time for ladies in corsets and, you know, fat guys in corsets. You know? Because, you know, you think about how would everything affect the society? Well, if ladies are wearing corsets, why wouldn't the guys who have huge bellies wear corsets to make themselves look a little buff? You know, you think about how it affects society.
We agree that men should also be able to wear corsets.
And look awesome and fabulous. We approve of men and fabulous.
We have seen mentions of an upcoming steampunk setting for the Ed Greenwood group titled For Wolf and Empire. Is there anything you can tell us about this project, a sneak peek behind the veil?
Sure. Okay. It starts in a Europe almost like the real world Europe around 1863. So we've had congresses, Napoleon is safely put to rest, and they've divvied up Europe. But what's different is, and where everything starts to diverge, a lot of fictitious little grand duchies and baronies that never existed, and some of the ones that did exist but vanished again, particularly in the ununified Italy and areas around there, and sort of Graustark, you know, the sort of Black Forest Germanic states that existed for a few seconds or never really existed, they all exist. And what happens is, a British inventor comes up with a ship of the line, just a regular sailing ship, that you can actually fly up into the sky because there's a fictitious element that will give it buoyancy. And he actually comes up with one that you can just fly up in the sky, fire your cannons. So he takes it to the British Admiralty. And of course, the British Admiralty, being the British Admiralty, they turn him down. Oh, this will never work. So of course, everyone else in Europe wants it. They either want to steal the plans or they want to buy it from him. And the other part of the element, and that's the wolf part of the element, is that for years, lycanthropes who can shape change, like all werewolves to look just human, have been living among us, amongst humanity. And because they like to live in the lap of luxury, they have been worming their ways up to become royalty or nobility, or at least the top bureaucrats. So they're in charge of where the food and wine goes so they can get theirs. And they take a look at this warship and they say, this is our chance. We have to make our bid for power. So they start to reveal themselves, and they're not unified. They're a race just like humans. They have factions. They argue with each other. They dispute, but there are suddenly werewolves everywhere. So you can do Scarlet Pimpernel. You can do the highwayman stopping the coach and demanding all the jewelry from the people inside. You can do all those fat men with ginger whiskers and big monocles saying, oh, my goodness, what bosoms you have, my dear. Oh, my monocle has fallen in your wine. Allow me to... You can do all of that stuff at once. And then you can have these ventures everywhere. And the nice part about the Ed Greenwood group is we have international members. So you will see what happens in India. You will see what happens in South Africa. You will see what happens everywhere. Because, of course, some of the werewolves are still practicing slavery without admitting it. So everybody gets in on the act.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes. Clearly, we see we're going to have lots of very, very interesting books and projects. But, and this is a personal vested question for me because I'm the role-play fanatic here, will we actually see steampunk games coming from your company in the near future, as in the nearest future possible, please?
Oh, yes. There will be role-playing scenarios, and they will be as simple as possible so you can use your favorite game, role-playing game rules. And the other thing, we'll be doing mini games, little games, cards, dice, tiles, games you can play in an hour if you have a lunch hour, rather than games that you have to set up and fill a table in your house and spend weeks playing. We'll be doing little mini games. And yes, there will be steampunk games. I have some ideas right now.
And role-playing games?
Oh, yes. Yeah, there'll be role-playing adventures. There'll be adventures as opposed to rule sets.
Okay. Yeah, the audience like that answer.
Yeah, we want you to not to learn new rule sets. Maybe learn a new rule for this gun or these pair of goggles. But instead of buying a whole new rule set and having to learn it, use the one you like and just have the adventure.
Yeah, they agree.
Yes, they do. They very much approve.
Both steampunk and fantasy require a lot of world building, whether in terms of books, games, and you're clearly familiar with that. What are your tips and warnings for aspiring writers? Do different settings offer radically different challenges?
The thing about writing fiction is you have to tell a good story, and has to be paramount, not the world building. I mean, it's lovely to pile up generations of a noble family and tell the reader where they're all buried and all that stuff, but tell a good story first and foremost. And that's number one. And number two is make sure the story fits the setting. I don't want a steampunk story that's really a Western or really a science fiction story with the astronauts' helmets taken off and replaced with goggles and top hats. I need it to really be part of the setting so that the setting makes a difference to the story. But beyond that, it's really, tell me a good story. I want a cracking good yarn. I want to see airships crashing. I want to see ladies pulling out daggers and giving it to people who turn their back on them for a moment because, after all, they're only a lady.
Now, you probably recognize this cover, and everyone's actually really interested. What can you tell us about your new book, The Iron Assassin?
I can tell you that it takes place in a London that never was, where the House of Hanover has lost the throne long ago, and the House of Harminster is in charge, and we have the Lord Lion is coming to the throne, but there is at least one dastardly secret society that doesn't want him to do that. And they are well placed, and they are hidden, and they are everywhere, and they have their own mad scientist. But we look over the shoulders of Jack Straker, Lord Tempest, who is almost a Sherlock Holmes, and he almost has a Watson in a guy called Hardcastle. And they recruit a plucky young lady to be the new secret agent because, frankly, she has more balls than both of them because they're busy being inventors. So Jack Straker goes running around making inventors, and one of his inventions is to bring an almost dead man back to life, a sort of Frankenstein's monster. And that dead man is the Iron Assassin. The problem with the Iron Assassin is he still has a brain. It's a dead brain, but he brings it back to life, and he has ideas of his own.
Oh no.
Yes. So you all remember that famous movie scene of Frankenstein's monster playing with a little girl. Well, our secret agent, who is not a little girl, encounters the Iron Assassin, and he thinks she's very pretty. And she has to deal with that. And he has a sense of honor, but he also has great strength, and he doesn't like being shot at. So the book is him trying to figure out what's going on, and all the rest of them trying to deal with it. And it's a whirlwind book, and I won't spoil the ending for you.
Oh, okay.
Well, it sounds lovely. Well, I won't spoil because I've read it already, but yes, go read it. And finally, for the most important question of all, Diana, will you do the honors?
Yes. Ed, last but not least, what are the secrets of that amazing beard?
Oh, well.
That's a pretty beard. Agree.
That's a righteous beard right there.
First of all, never shave. At least.
Like a real man.
Number 2, put food in it regularly, particularly protein like egg. Then wash it out, because nobody wants to be around somebody who's got stuff in their beard. But the beard needs to be fed. And number 3, and this is a real secret, guys. This is for everybody who is going bald. Okay? Find rotting bananas that have gone brown. Okay? Be somewhere insects can't bother you, like not outdoors. Smear the brown bananas on the skin where you want the hair to grow. And leave it on for as long as you can stand it, because it adds potassium and your hair will grow. I'm not kidding. This is not an old wives' tale. This works.
I shouldn't believe you. Or not.
Are you trolling us?
The audience is asking if you are trolling us.
No, this is real. The potassium from the overripe bananas is the best thing for making hair grow.
Well, now
So
you know.
it doesn't mean it's not foolproof, but it's the best thing we can get.
And you heard it here, the true secrets of big, manly beards. Yes, unfortunately, time waits for no man. So we have now reached the end. We would like to thank Ed Greenwood for his time and accepting our invitation. Thank you so much, Ed, and thank you for your beard.
Thank
you very much.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Wait, let me show you, everyone.
Like, say goodbye.
Wait, just a moment.
Hi. Hi. Very nice. Hi.
The last standing. We would also like, yes, we would also like to thank all of you, whether you're here with us or all over the world watching through the internet. We're now finally at the end of the road. I am Claudia, and this is where I say goodbye. From the entire team of EuroSteamCon Portugal, Dan and me, thank you for accompanying us throughout this amazing journey. Hopefully, we will see you next year.
Yes. Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
We love you. We love you. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you.